Good evening and welcome to our Monday edition of Call the Coach with Eran Ganot. And first off, congratulations on what I thought was good play all the way around. Now you split, which is Riley Wallace always used to say, the formula for winning the conference is to win your home games and split your road games. Now, I don't think it always works, but it often does.
Yeah, no, and I think we split the last several road trips. The disappointing thing is you're
early,
you go into it with really you're going to win every game. And now if you said the split happens, that's kind of worst case. But obviously the taste in your mouth is what recently happened. So we've had 3 opportunities to sweep a road trip, and we've come up short. But I'm pleased with where the guys are at from where we were. We've won 5 out of 7. Was basically a couple of possessions away from winning 6 out of 7, obviously after a tough start. And we've dealt with some guys in and out and things like that. Moore's obviously out for the year. Javon's been out the last 4 games. Really appreciative of the way the guys have stuck together and given us a chance. Now we have 5 games left, and we got to make another jump, obviously.
Now, what are the chances of getting Javon back?
I think it's good. I think on the trip he started to chip away at getting some extra work this week. We'll be practicing and with the, obviously we have the advantage of not playing Thursday. So I think he's in a good place. He's getting better every day. He's doing his treatment. All the x-rays and all that were positive. And, in the meantime, he's been trying to help from afar with his leadership. And, guys have stepped up. I think we're coming into this stretch with, a more confident group. Tom Beatty's had flashes, double-digit scoring games, I think, in 3 of the last 4. Ryan Rapp, 3 or 4 double-digit scoring games in this stretch. And, this is a good stretch for us too because we've played basically 8 straight weeks no bye. Our byes have been spread out, so I think our guys have done a good job navigating the challenge of improving on quick turnarounds with no bye, and now we have an opportunity to recharge and make a bigger jump.
Now you only have 1 game this week.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. Like, this is a rare opportunity for us to recharge the batteries and also have an extra practice we normally wouldn't have had and an extra day off we normally wouldn't have had. So the guys have traveled back well. We had a good, solid day today. We'll get after it tomorrow, get off Wednesday, and then get into our normal routine leading up to Saturday.
And that's Long Beach this Saturday.
Yeah, and Long Beach obviously is playing really well, and you can feel it with games all over conference play in the country and certainly in our league with the way seedings are. People are fighting to get a top 2, fighting to get a top 4, fighting to get into the tournament. And so it's created a lot of interesting scores you're seeing night in and night out.
Well, one of the things that I'm really enjoying is that this team is back to playing really good defense.
It stretches. And like I think when you saw the UC San Diego game, because that's a really good offensive team, and you saw at times, and we've shown that, and then you play a really good offensive Davis team, probably our best defensive effort the year, and then followed up with a really good defensive effort against Cal Poly, and then a tremendous first half effort against one of the best offensive teams in our league in the country in Santa Barbara, and we just couldn't replicate that in the second half. That was the difference. I think I said after the game, the discipline defensively they got to us. Our turnovers were critical in terms of leading to pick sixes, and our rebounding, which has been one of the better ones in the country or in the conference, let us down in key moments. When you let a good offensive team get more than 1 crack, they'll make you pay. So live and learn. We'll get better. We watched the film today, and now we're back after it.
Well, I mean, I want to suggest that you get down to there's only 1 game this week. So it's Saturday night against Long Beach. That's a team you've had some really good battles with. I'm anxious. I'm almost hoping that you get – it's not likely the way this is shaping up, but I'd like you to get another crack at UCSB.
Yeah, well, I mean, you never know what's going to happen in with the way the seeding works right now. There's a logjam. I mean, and the way things are played out, 5 games is a lot, and you've seen teams can go 5-0 in that stretch, and a good team could go 0-5, and – so there's a lot to play for right now. That's what's great about these games. But, we'll see. We got 3 weeks, obviously 5 games, 1 bye, and then conference tournament. It always hits quick. Even this Saturday's game is going to hit quick. But Long Beach is playing really well in a league that's had some good offensive teams. They have 5 double-digit scores. Obviously Shohonis leading their team in scoring right now, but the Traoris are, averaging double-doubles. Jadon Jones is shooting about as well as anybody in our league. George hurt us, and, they're very potent. They score quick. They can get after it. They can get to the line. They can create turnovers. So we got to have a good week of prep here before we play them.
What about? I want to ask you about a couple of teams. What happened to Davis? Did you start them off on a bad?
I'd love to
thing?
take credit. No, I think it's more byproduct of conference play. I mean, we had a good game with them here. They played I think a good Riverside team who's on a roll right now too, and then may have lost a tough game right before that as well. But I think we saw Northridge, who's had a great year. They got off to a good start and they lost 5 in a row, and then they've won 2 or 3 in a row. So there's a lot of parity in our league. I think that's a credit to the balance in our conference.
This is how fans are. Coach, wish you could have done a little differently down this last
What could you
moments
have done? Yep.
against UCSB, because that game was close. I wish we could have pulled that one out.
Yeah, no, I thought, the last several games, early we had some tough games late, and then that helped us. So we grow from pain because we've traditionally been good in close games, but this year's group had to go through some of that, and then we've been good in close games of late. And, you're watching that game over, and you're going, hey, we got a good possession here. We missed 2 layups at the rim. We missed the front end of a 1-and-1. We had 2 turnovers that they turned into, one of which they turned into a pick six and still had a chance. So, I think there's certain things I would do the same. There's certain things you wish you had back, and that's a credit to their team, though. You're trying to mix with especially Mitchell. Like he's like a bit of a Mahomes in terms of he's seen every coverage. We've done a good job at some point of attack guys like Pepper and Pope, and all of them are awesome in their own ways. And then Mitchell is that kind of scorer who makes you pay if you take it out of his hands, because they have that shooter in Anderson and they have bigs who can really roll. And so, it's always hindsight because we threw in a couple traps on him, and then he's so good at creating fouls on those, and so I think it was tough. We wanted to mix it up on him, and I thought we did a great job in the first half. When we tried to show, he made us pay or got us foul trouble, and Bernardo's foul trouble made us change the dynamic there too. So, if anything, I wish we took care of the ball better, made our front end, and disappointed in our rebounding. They made us pay for too many cracks at the rim.
Well, you also only lost the game by 3 points.
No, that's why I said it. You had two layups I can recall, and so the process was good. I mean, we went into – this is our 4th straight game. We shot over 50 from the field, over 40 from 3. We didn't turn it over a lot. 11 turnovers on the road is really good. They just had 4, and that was a big difference. And
right.
Our 11 turnovers, half of them were for, we say pick six, they converted. So, you look at that, and we try to get to Justin, who's having a great season, and I thought he could have gone to the line on a couple. That was sometimes the difference in the game. They got to the line, we didn't. Similar kind of drives, but we'll look at it and continue to improve like we have been.
One of the things that I've noticed is that Noel is playing much better now than he had been very early in the season.
Yeah, well, I think he's shown those glimpses, and we ask a lot of him. He's guarding, really good players, and at his position, there's some of the best scorers in our league. And, I think overall they're all playing better. I think the player movement, the ball movement has been a big key for that. Like, it's hard to guard us and now you're seeing everybody's true talents, and, the sharing of the ball over the course of the game can wear you down. The ball movement versus like just – holding the ball. I call it going from holding the ball, playing catch, to putting pressure on the rim, attacking, playing inside out, moving the ball. Don't let the defense reset. And that's really been in our favor. We have to build off that in this final stretch.
Okay, we have a texter. It says, hey, Coach, I want to talk about that UCSD overtime game. What a thrill that was. I couldn't agree more, by the way. And a spark, I thought, for the team. What do you attribute it to, and why was that game so close, and how did you triumph?
Over the years before, when we show our identity of our team, we have kind of these, you and I have talked over the years. Everybody has heard me talk about, we do the history of the program, then the culture of our program, and then we talk about it and we show some videos, and it talks about being tougher, being tighter. So clips of us hustling and making winning plays, then tough, tight, supporting each other like we do on the bench, and then the last one is tougher, tighter belief, tougher, tighter, like clutch. And so all these clutch moments over the last, 8.5 years. And so that builds confidence. That's why we say, the question said, what do you tell your guys? Well, we work. We prepare for those moments. We do situations in practice, and then when we're in the huddle, we say this is what we live for. There's no place you'd rather be than right here, right now, and that's really been worked in our favor over the years. Obviously, early this year was probably the first time in a while we didn't get over the hump early, but sometimes you flip that and say, hey, maybe this group needs to go through that, and then we've had close game wins of late, including UC San Diego, and then obviously didn't come through the other night, but the message has continued to be about prep, about enjoying those moments, living for those moments, and going from there.
Okay, here's a question. This is interesting for people who aren't around the program and don't get a chance to be. Do you have hard contact practices now, or do you decrease them to lessen injuries?
A good question, and obviously some of that you adjust for the travel of Hawaii. You have a blueprint of how you do things. You adjust to your personnel at the time and the travel that we're going through. So you probably heard me say, number one, have a plan. Number two, be flexible. And sometimes, everybody's gone through this. There's some weeks where everybody's banged up. Yeah. And then you have your practice plan, you scratch it, throw it out, and you write a new practice plan. And so right now I think, they're certainly decreased. We're probably, when we go, we're more efficient with it. We still try to bring in officials for at least one practice a week because we're not very good officials as a staff.
Yeah.
But there's a balance there. So I think a lot of that in general, as the season gets closer to the wire, I think we and most coaches will try to, be smarter with their time, their treatment, their rehab, stay with the weight room so we can continue to get stronger, heavy on the film, more mental, and then if there's some moments where you have too many guys at the same time out, you obviously can't afford it. And we have some of that. Obviously, we have 2 guys redshirting. We have more out for the year. We had Javon limited. And so we had to be really smart about what we're doing, not just to keep the guys we have fresh, but we couldn't afford to lose another guy. So every year's been a little different. It depends on where you're at. But in general, we're trying to be smart about it as we get towards the final stretch.
Some of the guys have really stepped up. Excuse me. But I think Ryan Rapp has really played much better. And Tom Beattie is getting more comfortable in his own skin. He's even shooting it better.
Yep.
So, some of those guys are going to be they're going to be around next year.
Yeah, we were watching them today, and they were getting after it in the skill work. And also, I'll say this: we sometimes you might reduce the contact at times, but you don't reduce the player development focus unless they're banged up. Like they're getting after. This is a workman-like group. You can get better. We feel during the course of the people talk about player development in the off season and all that. You can get better during the course of the year. You bring in a lot of workers. You try to play a style play that allows them to improve because they're making reads and decisions, and then you continue to put the extra work. And you've seen us when you travel with us on the road too. We'll take that early bus and have guys get extra work, and I think that's really helped us with our shooting stretch. I mean, like I said, in the last 4 games, we're 50-plus from the field in 4 straight games, 40-plus from 3 in 4 straight games, making 9 threes. And I'm watching them today, and Tom and Akira and Ryan, like you mentioned, and and Noel is on another hoop with Justin McCoy and Munoz, and so we might be smarter, but we're still putting the time in.
One of the things, and this next text kind of alludes to it. How come we're not seeing more of Cotton, and why can't Akira come out to play more considering his size?
Well, it's part of the dilemma as a coach, right? If you play more Cotton, the next question will be, why didn't I play this other guy more? If you play Kira more, why don't you play Justin more? So I think we found a nice little rhythm here, and I'm never going to say anything negative about any of our guys. I think sometimes the guys who are playing should be talked about more and not the guys who aren't as if they did something wrong. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does to me. I think
everybody's gotten a crack at this thing. We found a nice little rhythm right now. Ryan Rapp and Tom Beattie and Cody Williams have had such tremendous attitudes and great work ethics to stay ready, which is really impressive, and not even knowing when their time would come, and their time came. Other guys might be flipped. They have to do the same, and it's really easy to say, hard to do. I know I say it a lot, but you got to do it, and that's the essence of team. I think it's more a credit to those guys, and I think Akira has, early in the year he wasn't playing. Now he's playing, a consistent 8 to 12, sometimes more minutes depending on how the game goes. I think some of it is Justin McCoy has emerged as one of the better players in our conference. And I think Akira's in a good place, and that's what you want. You want your older guys to set the tone, the younger guys to learn from the older guys, and then they become the older guys. So Akira's learning a lot from Justin and things like that. He's doing fine. And I think moving forward, he's got another level to go to because even this week will be important to him. He's been thrown in the fire a little bit, and he's consistently shot it well for us. He knows the areas he needs to improve in, and, I'm excited about his journey.
There's going to be, though, a good big turnover this year. Because I think we'll get to that when we come back right after this timeout. You are listening to Call the Coach at Ruby Tuesdays. Welcome back to Ruby Tuesdays in Moanalua. I'm glad you're along for the ride. And I think the bye comes, in my mind, in a perfect time. Because it's now is when you really need it. And you're going to have a good team in Long Beach State.
Yep.
I think the best of the teams, the next home stand, will be I don't want to say that because
I'll say this. Like again, what's at stake and the potential of each group at different times. I mean, you're playing, and you don't want to skip steps. And we talk to our guys. You know how we are. Here's the next 5, and then we erase the next 4, and then we erase the next 1. It's us first, and then focus on Long Beach. But you got Long Beach. You go to Davis. You go to Riverside. Riverside's obviously one of the hottest teams in the league. You go to Northridge comes here. Bakersfield comes here. People are playing for top 2, top 4, playing the tournament. It's going to be awesome to be a part of it. We're very blessed to be in these kind of battles. But like you said about the bye week,
I think you have a real chance to get one of the byes. I mean, hope the guys realize it because they're in the mix in this thing.
Well, that's a credit to them. When you go 5 out of 7, if we could have pulled it off, obviously you can't get it back. You got to learn from it. But you're a game out of the 4th seed with 5 to go, several of those games are against teams you're currently kind of tied with. So much could change over this stretch, and so much will change even by the time we play Saturday because there's a game Thursday. But we are looking forward to recharging the batteries here, and we've added some wrinkles. We talked about 3 weeks ago about some offensive little wrinkles here and there. We've implemented them in quick turnarounds. We haven't really had enough time to work on it a little bit more, and we still have to work on some different combinations because of foul trouble we've had. We still have to get more, and you've seen sometimes Justin McCoy at the 5, and we're going to have all that available to us with our numbers situation right now and whatever could happen moving forward.
Well, and that's the beauty of a full season is that you don't really find out what you have necessarily in the first month.
Yep.
Sometimes it takes a little longer. This time I think it did take a little longer than it sometimes does, but I also think it's taken root better than it has sometimes.
Yeah, unfortunately we've had season-ending injuries and things like that over the years, and we've always managed to kind of navigate it and find a group, find an identity, and quicker. Sometimes you don't, but over the years we found, and then this year, we've been saying, man, we're trying things. It hasn't quite, and it's, you never knew that it would take this long, but sometimes you never. And you know what? Give credit to guys for continuing to hang in and buy in and fight. And we found something right now that we have to build off of. We haven't solved everything. We're finding something that's given us some confidence, and we have to get better over the next couple of weeks with what we found currently. So it's a humbling game, as you know.
No question. But good group. And
Great group.
One of the things I'd say to anybody, this is a heck of a good group that plays hard, they play together, they enjoy each other's company. They do the things you want a team to do.
Well, you see some teams go through these stretches we just talked about and fall off a cliff. If we push through on Saturday with Long Beach, then the 2 8-game stretches would have been a 2-6 and a 6-2. You don't always see that when a 2-6 can get worse and ugly quick. But one thing we've said consistently, and I think this always with our groups, and I hope we don't ever lose that, is that, teams will have, unfortunately, some guys you lose for the year, and they really struggle. This group has never been divisive, right? If anything, I've said over the years, they sometimes, and especially this group, really compound the problem because they want so badly to succeed for so many and for each other. But we've never had a fragmented group. Never.
No, never.
And so that gives you a chance every night to find something.
I thought when we were on that long trip
Yep.
To Utah with Palm Springs and then Utah, and I thought that was a good test because Utah is very good. And you overmatched the other guys a little bit, but I thought you played well. It was a perfect order to have it in.
Yep.
And then you played. I thought you were competitive. I mean, you were more competitive against Utah than St. Mary's was.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because even when you everybody in the country is navigating this unique time, and we talked about having a lot of older guys, but. Justin McCoy hadn't played. Ryan Rapp hadn't played. And obviously some of the freshmen we had and incorporating them. And so you can't ever see anybody's true talents. I know you hear us say this a lot until they're in shape or comfortable. And we were just still trying to get comfortable. And so like a Justin McCoy is a great example. He's gone first he's trying to play minutes consistently and learning how to do that. Then playing off of him as a guy we're featuring. Then handling scouts. And now breaking through like he has because he's a versatile player. He can get to the rim. He can post. We can play him on the perimeter. He's become clearly one of our leaders, maybe our best leader.
And he's very much more confident than he was, too.
Right. And I wish he had more years with us because –
yes.
And I think he does, too. Sometimes we get these late bloomers. And that's why I say his future is bright because this is really his first year playing. And it's fun. There's nothing better than watching a student-athlete grow or a team come together. And hopefully – we continue to build off that kind of stretch we're having.
Eran, we got someone in the audience. Go ahead, fire up.
I knew it.
Yeah, me too.
Hi, Coach.
Hey.
I wanted to. This is a kind of a unique question. How do you deal with your critics? How tough it is? Timmy Chang was asked a question once. What's more pressure, being the starting quarterback or being a head coach? And without question, he said being the quarterback because as a coach, you only have so much you can control. As a coach, you prepare them, you love your kids as much as you let them, but there's only so much you can control. And I felt last year, especially last year, you got an unfair amount of criticism at the end. Obviously, you wanted to, advance a little bit more, but if we make a little more free throws, a play here and there against Fullerton that first round, who knows what could have happened. So, we won 5 out of 7. If Juan misses that 3-pointer to send the game to overtime against San Diego, does that make you any less of a coach? I mean, I feel it. I feel like, it's such a fine line, and I don't know. I just wanted to get your feedback on how tough it is. If you get hot in the Big West tournament this year and win 3 in a row, does that make you any better of a coach than you are now? I don't think it does. I mean, you and Timmy, you guys been so consistent day in, day out, the preparation and everything. I just want to know how tough it is for you, to deal with that criticism sometimes.
Oh, it's a great question. I think it's like I go back to what I said when I got the job and understanding the responsibilities of the job and what you're getting into, what you sign up for. I mean, I said, do what you believe is right. Don't sell your soul and be willing to take the hits. And I think some of what you're asking is part of that. Criticism comes with it. You get praise, you get criticism. You don't get too high, you don't get too low. I think consistency is really important. Understanding that comes with it. Sometimes, as you know, and all coaches are human, it takes a toll because we all want to please and we care a lot. I don't think anybody cares more about this program and this state and our guys and our fans than me. And I understand sometimes there are tough stretches where, I understand where it comes from because everybody wants us to be good too. And so, and my wife who's sitting here knows I go through some, there's some tough times, but all coaches do. The reality at the end of the day is, did I stay true to what I said when I got hired? And what I'll continue to say is, do what you believe is right. Don't sell your soul and be willing to take the hits. And that part, I don't think anybody here is in 8.5 years and ever heard me fire back, point fingers, not take responsibility. And so that part won't change. It's I think certainly over time it can take a toll, but that's also what you sign up for. I get back into what's great go-to for me is work. And what's a great go-to is kind of saying to myself, what do I need to do to help our guys? Because that's what I'm here for, and live with whatever happens from there. And it's still easier, I say, for other guys, easy to say, hard to do, but you got to do it. And I'm pleased that we've continued to stay true to that. And certainly we want to make everybody here happy with what we're doing.
Ron, we're going to take a quick time out. We'll be right back with more. We're at Ruby Tuesdays, and this is Call the Coach.
Thank you.
Hawaiian
Welcome back to Ruby Tuesdays for Call the Coach with Eran Ganot. And I am often, I just want to say, because I've been around for the greater parts of all the years you've been here, and I find that you're very even-tempered. You don't really ever lose your rag. You never blame anybody. I can guarantee that. I could not be here for 5 years, and they'd come back and say, well, what would you say he never does? And I say, he never blames anybody else. Never. That's just not part of your constitution. But I also think it has its salutary value because that kids pick up on that. They know they're not going under the bus. Ever. So that's nice to be able to say. I'll bet you some of these kids have come from programs where that's not the case.
Yeah, well, it's also kind of, so what you're saying earlier. I mean, my dad would never allow that. My mom would never allow me to do that. And then the guys I've played for, the guys I've worked for, the people in Hawaii, I don't think that is a great way to go. We hold our guys accountable. We can coach their guys. We can talk to them directly. We don't need to go publicly and do any of that. I don't believe in that. Sometimes, there's a great balance there, and I just think you work, you continue to communicate with your program about what we're doing well and what we can and to build off it, and what we're not, and attack it, and that's about as simple as that. And I do think that my number one job is to lead. I've said that before. There's the X's and O's and there's the recruiting, but my number one job is to lead. We got 18 and 22-year-old kids. Obviously, one's in his 40s, but at a critical time in their lives, and we got to set a good example. And that's why I did get into coaching, because they were very influential for me.
Well, let's ask this question that's coming in via text. How do you get the guys to stay out of foul trouble? It's more trouble than you think, especially the big guy. It would be so great if he can stay out of foul trouble because he's done a good job.
Well, now I'm trying to pray more. No, this has been very unique because the foul trouble is now even more at a premium because of obviously when you lose. If you lost a guard, it'd be more at a premium for the guards. We lost more, and it's an area that. Obviously Bernardo had a foul in the first half and then picks up 4 in the second. They were all undisciplined fouls, and so we talk about it with him over the years. We've shown it, and I do think he's improved there. That's why you see his minutes are up. But it's certainly like you have to adjust to the way the game's being played and the situation your team's in, and we don't have the luxury. And so sometimes you will get fouls because – the way the game's played, people are, it happens. But you can't have the undisciplined fouls, and that's where we need to continue to improve. And so that's why I bring in officials to practice. That's why we watch even film on our foul situations. And, I think it's magnified right now because obviously, the situation with Moore. And obviously it's going to be a big underlying storyline moving forward. But also at the same time, we're going to continue to prep with Harry and Justin at the 5-some.
We've got a phone caller. Tony's on the line. Hey, Tony, what's up?
How's it going? Hey,
Good.
Coach, I have a question.
Hey, Tony.
I wanted to talk about Matthew Cotton. He started off the season really good, played really well, had a couple of good games, and he looked really good at the 3 spot, and we don't see anything of him now. What is he hurt, or what's going on with Matthew?
Oh, thanks for the question. He's fine. I think, again, I'm not going to say anything negative about Matthew. I think it's more of a positive about the way Ryan Rapp and Tom Beatty have been playing, and especially the way we've been playing during this stretch. Some things like that sometimes happen. You go in there with the mindset of kind of who's earned it and who's who's playing the best and who's playing the best collectively, and the way it's kind of played out, it's shifted into this Tom Ryan stretch, and I think that's more credit to them than anything negative about Matt.
All right. Thank you, Tony. And if you have something else, please go ahead and call us. Eran doesn't shy away from questions. But you can forget about him throwing people under the bus. That's not going to happen. But he will answer the question. So go ahead and give it a shot. 808-296-1420 is the number. And Eran, I think when you get now – there's certain venues that the teams that I've been with back to the Riley days have not done terribly well. UCSB is one of them.
Yep.
I don't know what exactly it is. It's just it doesn't. And you've done fine, really. I think generally at home against some of these guys. Same with Long Beach.
Yeah, and the road, I think in general, what I'm proud about with this group is we're about, not to say you want, but you talk about splitting the road. We're a little over 500 on the road over the years in conference play. And, sometimes, like I said, it's a humbling game. I remember we had Santa Barbara lost in overtime one game, lost a one-possession game. We talked about missing some. It can go either way on you. And so I don't think our guys ever fear the travel, or we enjoy playing in those venues. We've over the years we've earned the right to play in packed venues on the road, and I think that's a great thing. In some situations you got to get over the hump, but when you do it over years, you realize that you don't have teams over like this group doesn't know what happened 3-4 years ago, so each group has their own identity in that regard.
Yeah, and I think my guess is I think the guys enjoy it when they get to play on the road, and they generally play well on the road. Yeah,
I think we travel well. We put ourselves in position. Usually defense is something consistently. We've been good defensively. That's why we've been successful on the road. And a lot of times we've played in front of some good crowds on the road. Up until recently, we started a fight. Like, as you know, you earn the national television games in our conference. And over the years, including we've earned national but it's always been on the road. It took like 2 or 3 years ago, we started to make an argument to the conference. How come every time I know they're saying, it's hard to bring, like every time we earn the television game, it's always on the road. And so what's great about it is because we get to play on the road, it's packed house. But when they've done it the few times at our place, it's been the
results have been
highest viewed, highest rated, packed house. And so hopefully, to be honest, I'd like them both ways, home, road, play in front of a packed house, intimidating crowds, what you live for.
Well, one of the things, and I think this is part of being fair, is it's the best looking arena in the entire conference. So why not put the best foot of the conference forward? I don't understand.
It's been good for the league.
Never
I think,
doing that.
And when even like last year, I think we had Irvine, we had Santa Barbara, Fullerton one year, and we had Irvine last year. It was 10,000 sold out, rocking, highest rated by far in our league. But it's been great to like you said, last year I think we earned one at home. We also earned one at Santa Barbara, and it was packed, and it was I think a whiteout there too. And honestly, that's everything you want to play for. You want our guys to continue to play in those situations.
Do you have a favorite venue? I mean, sometimes
Stand Chair Center.
Well, I mean, that can't count that. No, I mean, except for that.
It's hard to say. I mean, it's hard to say. I have a lot of respect for the teams and the facilities and venues in our league, so it's hard for me to say favorite, and because it's hard for me. I want to talk only positive about us.
Right.
So, but I enjoy. I think Irvine's got a hostile crowd when we've been over there. Santa Barbara's got a hostile crowd. And sometimes there's some venues that are bigger and smaller, and the smaller venues sometimes can feel like you're in one of those rowdy high school gyms where you can't hear anything. So, to be honest, I love all those opportunities. Packed house, wherever you're at.
There are places that I like some better than others, I will say. But it's not about the people. For example, I think Jim Les is a terrific coach.
Yep.
And yet I think when you guys play well there, it makes me happy. It does. It makes me happy.
I hope so. I hope you're happy.
Well, I'm saying nothing about –
yeah.
It sounds like maybe I have something against him, but I don't. I just think it's really good when when we play well against them because they're
good.
I respect the opponent.
Absolutely. I think that's a big part of it. And I think there's, like I said, going into this year, you have a lot of continuity in staffs, good coaches in their league. So many different coaches have been in the tournament. Obviously Irvine, Santa Barbara, Jim Les with Davis, Fullerton with Diedrich. Rod Barnes has been in the tournament over the years. Eric Owen's doing a great job over at and
San Diego.
So I think there's obviously Dan Munson in Long Beach. So there's a lot of good battles night in and night out.
And when they come here, I don't know if any of the teams get a little intimidated because they don't travel very often. We travel all the time.
Yep.
So I don't know if some of the teams may be a little leery of coming across the pond.
Well, I think I think I do know this. It's the best venue. It's one of the best in the country. Our fans are incredible, and when we do our part to get them rocking, it is very intimidating. I think it can be deafening at times in the Stan Sheriff Center, and that's what happened the last couple of weeks. And hopefully, we can continue to do our part to get the place rocking.
All right, here's one for you. This is every coach loves these. Sometimes the referees are so one-sided. Can coaches file a complaint, or is it best just to let it go?
Is this a setup? There's a good balance to that. I think I have a good balance of making my point and not going too. I mean, I know I've had 3 or 4 technicals
In 9 years.
Yeah, which is pretty good. I know how to get to the line. We do have communication with there's always, since I started coaching, there's a consortium. There's official conference officiating coordinators. Over the years, recently they've become consortiums, like in the West, in the Midwest, the West, and all that. So you are able to communicate at times. Diplomatically and respectfully your concerns, and then you kind of go from there. I think it's like anything, and that's why you've heard me, whether it's throwing guys under the bus or blaming the officials, I prefer to say what we could have done better, take them out of the equation, and subtly make my point when I need to make my point.
Makes sense to me. Let's take a quick time out. We'll be right back at Ruby Tuesdays for Call the Coach.
Gather round.
Back to Ruby at Moanalua. I do think that I'm going to make a prediction, and I don't do that very often, but I think that they're going to break through. This Rainbow Warrior-based basketball team will break through in the conference tournament. That's what I think. I just really like the way they're sharing the ball, they're playing defense, they're unselfish. I mean, generally those are typical, but there have been times, I think, where some players are just trying, and it's only because they're trying to do too much. And but this group seems to have a good handle on that. So I'm hoping that stays the course. Of course, there's still 5 games left. Things can change. But I do think that this group seems particularly adept at doing those things.
Well, now they can build off something. They're seeing what it's supposed to look like, and it's everybody has a game, but really it's 4 straight. I said we're shooting 50 from the field, 40 plus from 3, and 80 from the line over the last 4 games. But it was leading up to that too. We started to make a jump leading up to that made the bigger jump, and now we got to continue to build off it. But the great thing is they see what it needs to look like, and we're doing it off different guys. Like 8 or 9. Maybe 10 different guys have had double-digit scoring games. So
amazing, really.
Yeah, and I think Harry might have a breakout here soon. Like, Cody had a breakout one day. I think then they start targeting him a little bit more. It opens up things for other guys. And the big thing, too, is like our three-point rate. While our three-point percentage is great, remember we were probably chucking too many threes. So the balance has been good. We were concerned about free throws earlier. We've had great free throw shooting. I mean, these guys are putting in the work. And they're not as predictable, and they're playing inside out, which that's what's probably led to this current stretch.
Justin McCoy is really shooting it well.
And he can shoot it. I mean, him and Juan were doing a shooting game today, and it was him, Juan, and Noel, and all 3 of them were roping in. Noel came up short, but it wasn't because Noel wasn't shooting well.
Yeah.
And Justin, and I know because they're roommates, Justin and Juan, and trash talking is at an all-time high. If you give Justin a crack to talk some trash, he'll take it forever. And so, obviously, he won the day. And, as we left the gym, we knew it was going to be a long day for Juan. And Juan knows, too. He's like, this is going to be tough because Justin has got – and it's been great for us. It's been contagious. He's got this love for the game and appetite for life and joy that has really helped us through some tough periods. He's been one of our best leaders. That's not easy to do in your first year.
No, it is not. I think both those guys have done a good job at that, and Justin's come on with that.
Yep.
He had kind of a class clown thing early on, but he's kind of gotten a little more. Not that he's not having fun, but he's a little more serious than he used to be.
He just has a good balance. Sometimes earlier we're saying pick your spots. He's picked his spots really well. He knows when he needs to bring that out, and that is the essence of leadership. I couldn't be prouder of him, and what an impact he's made in year one. I think when I tell people, like, he's got a bright future because this is really the first year he's gotten a crack.
Well, he is 34, I think.
We got a texter.
Okay, here we go. Did you ask your team to attack the basket earlier in the possession? I certainly have. Like Ryan and Cody started to do a few games ago. Also, the double team on the opponent's post, man, looked effective so far.
Yeah, those are, I say this very respectfully because, I'll talk to our staff and, sometimes you have, games when there's the question, do you guys work on free throw shooting after we had a bad free throw shooting game, or did you now start telling the guys to share the ball, or did you all of a sudden tell them to attack the rim? And respectfully, that we've always been saying inside out, attack the basket, run in transition. We have not talked about stalling the ball or playing catch and holding it till late clock situations. We've never come into practice saying, hey, move it around, and then when it gets about to 3, let's go dribble it to half court and chuck up a prayer. Like, we've never talked about that. But I think one of the things, though, is it's nice to see them build off it more and that's why I said to see what it looks like. Cody's as fast as any player in our league. I mean, I'll put him up there with a couple guys. He can get to the rim.
That, he can also jump.
He can jump, and he's just worked over the years about just continue to get under control. Like Cody, as an example, last game, remember he ran 180 miles an hour and threw the ball, missed the layup. Then the very next play, he continues to attack and makes the layup. Like, he is fast there, and I think a lot of it – except for we want to be aggressive, we want to be confident, we want to shoot the 3, but we were shooting too high a percentage of threes. And that's come down a little bit, so that's why I say our inside out is guard penetration. Our inside out is post-ups. And then we added, remember we talked about this, not just Bernardo, posting up Justin, even Ryan at times at the 3. And so our balance is a lot better. And those guys are helping each other out with that. And we've done a little more wrinkles to spread them out and things like that. The double team on the post is something we've always had, and obviously it's been maximized certain teams and our front court depth. So It's easy to say double the post, and over the years we've been good there because not just the point of attack, the post double and making it tough for the post man, but also you will see some post guys like a Bernardo who can really pass out of the post. You really got to work on rotating out of it. It's not easy. So we put in a lot of time in that. We're going to continue to have to use it moving forward.
Well, I also think that you have this to look forward to. You have more Sec to look forward to because he can be a tremendous shot changer.
Well, when Moore is out there, we didn't have to double as much.
Yeah.
Obviously, less Moore and the front court depth has put that situation. Now, sometimes you will double a great post player. Sometimes you'll double a poor post player who's just not a great passer. So we just need to have all that available for us. We need to have zone available, mix and suppress. Over the last several weeks, we've obviously seen a little bit of everything thrown at people.
Okay, we got a texter. Coach, let us know right now, which team do you not – I don't know if you're going to even want to answer that one. Which team do you not like more, Long Beach or UC Irvine? There's got to be a better way to put that.
I can't go there. I know I'm going to be diplomatic. I don't like anybody in our league equally. You know, I love Hawaii, and I'd love to answer more of these questions when I'm retired.
There you go. I think that's wise, actually. That sometimes Riley would occasionally –
not Coach Wallace.
Occasionally he would he'd be in a mood and he would let loose. But you don't get in a mood. Or you do. If you do, you keep it to yourself.
Pick my spots. So when it happens, it's,
be a shock.
Yeah, like it's just so – it's interesting.
There you go.
I've been around Coach Wallace. He picks his spots a little differently. But you
Yeah.
know what I'll say about – he always had this great line, and everybody is different. But he always had this great line. He said, and I learned from everybody. He's like, you take from everybody you're around, and then you put yourself in it. And that's about authenticity. So I wish I was like Coach Wallace or Coach Bennett in all these different ways, but I've taken a little bit from all these guys, and I am who I am.
Right.
Like, what was Riley Wallace's? I always show my wife, like, his press conference first quote. What a great line. I am Riley Wallace, and I am my own man. Like,
Right.
I mean, that's forever. But he is who he is. He coached with great authenticity. I've worked for two of the winningest coaches at their respective schools. Equally competitive, very fiery, totally different. But they were who they were. And that's what I always respected about them. No fake, very genuine, very consistent who they were.
Randy Bennett's always been nice to me because he's been asked to be. Because he listens to you, for example, and if you ask him to do it, he'll do it. But he does not like to talk to the media. It's not his thing. And I think, but he's pretty upfront about it. He doesn't pretend. I respect that.
He's there. Like I said, I've been very blessed with my family, the coaches I've worked for and with, the players I've gotten to coach, the people I've gotten to meet. They've all done it. I've been around great people, and those two, like I could say, Randy Bennett, Riley was equally competitive, equally fiery in different ways, high character, high morals, run programs the right way. Their hearts in Hawaii or St. Mary's, and I respect. And there's coaches in the country who are bouncing all over the place. I played for my college coach who passed a couple of years ago, which was hard for me, and he was there for over 25 years. I worked under Randy Bennett when I started. This is my 21st year. He's still there. And then Riley Wallace obviously being here for 20. Bob Nash, who was here longer than anybody. There's some old school young coaches in the game that like that, respect that, and I like when I'm driving around and I know everybody now, I feel like, and sense of community, continuity, seeing alums come back. I was talking, I think Bobbitt will be at our game at Davis. I was talking to Jenks the other day. That doesn't happen if you're not there for a stretch. Yeah. And for those guys, they're like, hey, when I come visit, I said, you got a place to stay for life. So that's what I respect about Randy and Coach Wallace.
On that note, we will bid everybody aloha. That was a good show, Eran. Enjoyed it. Hope everybody here did too. And from all of us at ESPN Honolulu, I'm Bobby Curran. Aloha.
Thank you.